Hi everyone, my name is Jennifer and I'm a blogger. I have a cooking blog on my Instagram. Yes, you might say that there are lots of those kinds of bloggers out there, but still, it's so cool to cook nowadays, especially the healthy meals. Oh yes, healthy recipes all the way. Every self-loving woman today does nothing but watch her diet, go on runs, and eat those healthy meals. So my blog is very helpful and has all the chances of becoming the best one. I very much love to spend my time in the kitchen, and I started cooking when I was around 10. I didn't instantly become a pro, and my family still makes fun of me for my burnt pies and extra salty meals and undercooked turkey, but it never stopped me, and my cooking just got better. As I'd gotten better, people started to praise my skills and even asked to cook for the holiday meals for all the relatives and then for friends' parties. I was always fascinated by the cooking process, and so I decided to share it with everyone. It was at this moment that I started a blog. Each recipe is a whole process. Everything must be prepared, filmed in detail, and then the video editing begins. Sometimes it takes several hours to shoot a recipe, and then all this must be packed into 1 minute. It is very difficult and time-consuming. Plus, you need good lighting, music, background, beautiful plates. And yes, only the best groceries are needed, not greasy or fatty, and definitely always fresh. In short, this hobby turned out to be very costly. My parents, my friends, who at first supported me, grew angrier when I asked for more and more money. And then one day my dad asked, "Why do I do all this and why doesn't it bring me money?" Like, other bloggers get money and all I do is take money from them. So they decided they won't give me a cent anymore. And if I want to spend money on all sorts of nonsense, I have to earn it myself. At this point, my blog already had 100,000 followers, which is not very many, but still not so bad either. I decided that it was probably time to monetize the blog. I started looking for clients for advertising, holding giveaways, giving gifts, and even paid to increase my audience a little, which is when I saw an ad from a very famous blogger to participate in a cooking marathon. The main prize being the opportunity to publish the best recipe in her cookbook and demonstrate the cooking of this meal in the trendiest restaurant in town. It was a great opportunity. For 2 crazy months, I did all the tasks, posted new recipes, read heaps of comments, wrote back to the haters. My audience began to grow fast. I was becoming the main contender for the prize. I had less time left for friends and school, and then I chose to focus on education for a bit because if I started to study poorly, my parents would forbid me to continue the marathon. As a result, and 2 insanely difficult months after, I won. It was the coolest moment in my life. I was absolutely delighted. I was able to become not only the youngest culinary specialist in the city, but I also entered the top 20 most popular food bloggers. And right then, the time had come to make money. I quickly received the offer. I was invited to participate in a giveaway. I made some money from publishing my recipe and put it into action. My following grew. Offers from advertisers rolled in. Truthfully, I now spent even more time on the blog. And after 6 months, I decided to launch my personal giveaway. It was very difficult and took a long time, but the giveaway went well and I made good money. Now, I decided to hold giveaways more often. And I've reached the long-awaited 500,000 followers. It was so cool. I decided to throw a big party because of this and cook a lot of delicious things like I did it before. The prep for the party began with inviting guests and ended there. It turned out that during the year that I'd spent on the development of my blog, no one was left near me, and probably my friends are right when they left me. They asked me to hang out so many times, invited me to so many parties, to the movies, but every time I refused, and everyone gradually forgot about me. So now, I have a bunch of followers who write me messages, leave me comments, but what's the use? They were all on the other side of the screen, and when I go to their profiles and see how they live, they go on dates, go on vacations, eat delicious food with friends using my recipes. They lived the life to the fullest, and I was like a slave to Instagram. This was all terrible. At that moment, I realized that I no longer want to hold giveaways, film recipes, and generally speaking, I needed a digital detox. I wrote a post on this topic and went on vacation for a week. It was very noisy that morning. My parents were doing something in the yard, but I didn't even want to go to the bedroom window to look. I was very sad and lonely. I tried to figure out what to do, and for the last 4 days, I'd been lying in my bed. After lunch, my mother knocked on my door and asked to come in. She said that she wanted to do my hair like we did when I was a child and give me a present. I understood that it was important for both of us and agreed. She did my hair, brought out a beautiful dress, blindfolded me, and led me downstairs. It was very quiet. In the courtyard, I smelled smoke. It was the smell of barbecue. Only my dad could cook such aromatic steaks. I took off the blindfold. All my friends were standing around me. That was incredible. They all came. My dad cooked food, my mom poured us non-alcoholic drinks. There were no phones, no conversations about the blog, just old friends and conversations about nothing and everything. What do you think is better? To have 100 friends or hundreds of followers? Or maybe a lot of money is better? Write your opinion in the comments.
Hi everyone, my name is Snezhana. My parents are conservative and they always believe that you can only make money doing hard work. I found a job on the internet that I enjoy. During the quarantine, everything did not go according to plan. My parents lost their jobs and we were short of money. I always had my own opinion on any topic, and my views on life and earnings were freer and more democratic. Our relationship was strained because of this. Parents didn't recognize alternative ways of earning money through the internet. They hoped that I would somehow outgrow my harmful beliefs, but I knew that this wouldn't happen. During the quarantine, I was sitting at home and surfing the internet as usual. This time, I was brought up to some article about easy money without investments and messages. Usually, I don't read that, but our position in the family became more disastrous and I decided to read. I was carried away. In the end, I was already burning with the desire to try. During the day, I studied online and I needed a part-time job that does not take long. It turned out to be simple. I needed confirmation that I was an adult. I sent my photo with a passport in hand. Then I registered, having previously agreed with the terms of the offer agreement, and got down to work. I had to continually change fake accounts as this allows you to earn more and not to be exposed. I turned on my creativity and began to exercise in coming up with various nicknames. I especially loved the feminine nicknames Graceful Acacia or Lush Doe. I was terrified to get caught by my parents, and I had to do it at night with the eternal fear that they would enter. My room didn't have a lock, as my parents considered it is reasonable to open my office. They called it an unscheduled audit for a subsidiary of the company. This is their humor. I always listened for a creak of the door somewhere. And when this happened, I quickly turned off the monitor and dived under the covers in whatever I was. This was terribly inconvenient since the employer recommended promptly responding to comments. I understood that I had to come up with something because you won't earn much in such a regime. I turned to my secret boyfriend. Why secret? Because my parents did not know about him. He was too progressive for them. He wore torn clothes, was covered in tattoos and deadlocks on his head, although he worked as a programmer. My mom would faint at the sight of him, and my dad would call the police for sure to check him on the base of theft or robbery. So I called him on FaceTime. I finally decided to tell my boyfriend about what I do. When I said that I had good news, he brightened, but when he found out what I was doing, he was immediately alarmed. He said that his good friend was doing this, but she was too carried away. When she decided to get a typical job, she didn't succeed since she had experience in the profession. Because of this, she fell into depression and to numb the pain became addicted to sweets. Then, since she ate a lot of sweets, she developed allergies, from which red bumps appeared on her face. The bumps itched terribly, and she combed them until they bleed. Some kind of infection got into the blood, her face was swollen, and she was in the hospital for a long time. She reconsidered all her views on life and decided to devote the rest of her life to serving God and became a nun. The monastery was in the mountains, and once a mud flow descended, the whole monastery was buried under a thick layer of mud. They still haven't found her. Do you want the same fate? He asked. No, of course, I didn't want to. But I was not allergic to sweets, and such a fate did not threaten me. After talking with my boyfriend, I told him that I would start looking for a regular job, but decided not to rush into it. By this time, I noticed that my parents became worried, as they saw that I often didn't get enough sleep. I got off hook as best I could. Soon, I had a pile of work. I could hardly do anything. Over time, I began to notice how my computer started to behave strangely. The mouse twitched and ran away to the other end of the screen. Some programs were opened. I decided that I had caught a virus and reinstalled Windows. Still, after reinstalling, it became even worse. Messages from an unknown number began to come to my phone that I was doing something terrible. Soon, everyone would know what I was doing. At the same time, messages began to go from my employer that they were writing to him from unknown accounts and threatening him. And I signed a contract in which I had to follow specific safety standards. Because of this, he may have problems, and if he has issues, I will have questions. I was shocked by what was happening. Am I the victim of some kind of blackmailer hacker? Only my boyfriend knew about what I was doing, who was against my activities. Yes, he could do it. I told him about it directly and that I did not expect such a blow in the back. He denied and assured that there was a blockage at work and he simply had no time to do this. I didn't believe it, and in the end, we had a big fight. I was very nervous about all this and I had a nervous breakdown right in front of my parents. They calmed me down, put me in order, and gave me water. Mom admitted that it was her and Dad who sent threatening messages to my employer and me. They noticed long ago that I stayed up late on the computer and were very worried about me. They decided to consult with their acquaintances. They told me that my generation can do something very illegal and indecent on the internet. Friends painted in paints what could happen to me, and my parents decided to act, but not as usual. And usually they just spoke head on and lectured me, but this time they decided to move more cunningly, asked their nephew, an IT specialist who lived nearby, to take care of me. While I was gone, he installed a tracking program and began to observe what I was doing. At first, they calmed down when they saw that I was not doing something indecent, but merely working as a secret comment writer. They liked being such hidden observers, and they decided to influence me by intimidating me with threats. When I reinstalled Windows, they began to write to me from fake accounts and then to my employer. I no longer had the strength to swear and sort things out, and I just told that I might have problems since I signed the contract. In the end, they went to meet me and explain the whole situation to my employer. The employer and I parted ways without any claims to each other. Due to the worries I had endured, I developed a persistent rejection to work on the internet. I just became afraid of it. After this incident, my parents began to respect the nephew of the IT specialist and became interested in the internet. They started their own blog where they shared their success in conquering the internet and become quite popular. They even began to send advertising offers. Thanks for watching. Love to all. Do what you like and subscribe to our channel.